Alright, and we're back. So I did that to split up the VOD, so this will be the start of the next VOD. You're watching this on YouTube. Last time we took all of the removal that can hit creatures and put it on the list down here, and now we're going to figure out which of these many spells that we don't actually need we can cut. Because there are way too many cards on this list. I think we can cut Exile. Like, I like gaining the life equal to the creature's toughness, but that's kind of like, if we were mono white, I could probably find room for this, but I'd rather have at 3 mana Excise the Imperfect to hit any non-land permanent and give an opponent an incubate token based on its casting cost rather than exile a non-white creature that's attacking. Like, I think this one is too narrow and that one is too open-ended. So, get rid of exile. Anguished Unmaking. Decked in Stone, Settle the Wreckage. We probably don't need Assassin's Trophy. Like, in this deck, what's its name? Mortality Spear is 99% of the time going to be better Assassin's Trophy. Like, it's also only going to cost green and black and give them nothing. Also, I'm already running Casualties of War and Windgrace's Judgment as far as removal that doesn't exile and doesn't gain me life. So, I probably won't even wind up running that at this rate. Battle, Bywater, Righteous Fury, Perilous Vault, of Abandon. Well, I do have stuff that gains me life for opponents having creatures come into play, which makes Contraband Livestock kind of okay. I don't actually need it. And again, we have so many things that exile the opponent's creatures anyway that feels redundant at this point. Soul Snare, also kind of not amazing. It has to be specifically attacking and attacking me on top of that, or my Planeswalker, in order for me to kill the creature, so like, it's fine, but I would rather have, oh, surprise, I'm going to exile your creature that you thought was going to get through, so I'd rather have basically all of the other instant speed removal that I have rather than that. Supply shares. Yeah, I feel like at this point, anything that's just destroying a single creature probably doesn't need to be in here. I have so much exile effects going on. Yeah, we probably don't need the Mortality Spear then. Meat Hook always kills my things, and I have a lot of other ways to wrath opponents' creatures away. So I think we can get rid of that. One, two, three, four, five, 6 cards now. Meat Hook can go. Bloody Spear. Snare. Let's just go to alliances at this point, because so many things exile on this list. Just be faster. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so those were the easy cuts for creature removal, but we still have a huge list of removal that I probably need to chop more cards off of. I'm sorry to think that the vault can go. We have so many other cards that exile all things. And at least with Farewell, if we needed to hit creatures and artifacts with it, we could leave behind all of our good enchantments. And if we need to hit enchantments, then we need to hit enchantments anyway, and they were going. Maybe I don't want to hit creatures at that point, so I have more control over what I'm losing. I think that's better. Righteous Fury is okay at 6 mana, but it's not amazing. It doesn't kill vigilant creatures, it doesn't kill things that aren't attacking me. And a lot of my other stuff is already exiling things like that, like Settle the Wreckage and whatnot. Angel of Dire Hours is one more, and it exiles the attacking creatures. Also, it exiles attacking creatures. On the other hand, Righteous Fury kills tapped, like, creatures that became tapped to activate their abilities outside of combat that are still tapped. It kills creatures and gains me life, but at the same time, I think I like the exiling effects better. I'm debating if we need Solitude or not. Like, it's certainly playable in this deck. It's fine to have. But at 5 mana or a card from our hand, I don't know that's the best thing. Like, it's not terrible to, like, flash this in, exile another creature, and then have a blocker for something, ideally, and gain the 3 life off the lifelink on top of that. I'm coming back to, like, Rodolph and thinking about cutting him as I scrolled up. I think I am gonna do that. He's 2 mana intensive for what he's doing. Like, he's fine, because he's always gonna be, like, a lifelink death touch indestructible in this deck, like, almost all of the time, but still. Don't super need him, so let's get rid of Righteous Fury and Perilous Vault. wrote off the list too. Excuse me. 2, 3, so 228. Ugh. So we need 148 more cuts. So yeah, I don't have a cutesy way of looking at that for how many cards per card, how many cuts per cards we need right now. It's a lot. We still need to cut almost half the cards on this list. We are down to the part where we only need to cut like half. Oh no, wait, hang on. I can't math. Never mind. I'm subtracting 60. We need to cut like, what is it? 2 out of every 3 cards and then a bunch more. There we go. I figured it out. So yeah, if I'm keeping Demonic Tutor, Soul Ring, and Swords, I need to cut 2 more cards off of the list just for them to stay on, and so on in that manner. Till we're good. Alright, we probably don't need Righteous Aura. Like, it's cool to be able to turn huge chunks of damage into white mana and 2 life, but we have other things going on. Survival's fine for right now because we have a lot of utility creatures in this deck, and we have ways to get back cheap creatures that we discard, so it's kind of a win-win on that one. We probably don't need Phyrexian Reclamation. We either don't need Reclamation or we don't need some of the other cards that are getting our dead cards back. Because this is 2 mana and 2 life to get the creature back, which is still very doable. Most of our stuff is like very inexpensive to cast. So there are a lot of creatures we could be getting back that we could immediately cast. There are some expensive value cards though that would be a little rough with, but we're not getting those cards back with any of the things we have, so let's get rid of Spore Frog because I don't think we need him or the Kami. I don't think we actually need Fog Effects, so Streams, Ariok Champion, Beacon of Mortality, Eternal Witness. We probably don't need the Silent Arbiter. Like, there will be plenty of decks that just have one giant creature they're attacking us with that don't care about its restriction. And we still have things like Crawl Space anyway to protect us from being swarmed. We have effects that care when opponents land or when opponents' creatures come in and die, but we don't have that many. And I'm cutting stuff, so I think Seed the Land can go. I think it's better to cut Seed the Land than it is to figure out how we're going to add in the Mirror Maker also. Go with it. Dust, Essence Warden, Imp's Mischief, Rift Sweeper, Dread, Revelark, Helic Tutor, Moon Reflection, Fracturing Gust, Kitchen Finks. The Kitchen Finks might wind up going. It's only, what is it, 5 life? It's based on their power. Like, it works fine with Malera, but we only have the small number of sack outlets anyway. Also, we might be getting rid of Solemnity since it's not doing as much. Also, Solemnity is a little dangerous because it affects our opponent's things. So yeah, we can probably cut Kitchen Finks and then cut Solemnity and just use Malera to protect us from poison counters and our creatures from -1/-1 counter effects. Awakening Zone, Elspeth, Exsanguinate. I do like the huge life gain Exsanguinate's capable of, but we don't actually need it, and there will be times where it will just win us the game when that's not really what I'm playing it for. It's more to gain tons of life while putting everybody on the back foot a little bit, making them a bit more leery of attacking. Yeah, I don't think we need the Pontiff either as a 6 mana play. It is nice that it's a giant, butt, and it doesn't die to buy water or any of those cards, so. Of course, Rufix, Leah, Sunscourge Regent, English Making, Bygone Bishop, Protected Stone, Eerie Interlude, Authority, Campbell. I guess we keep the Panharmonicon for now. Yeah, we're probably going to wind up cutting this Gideon at the end of the day, so we'll just go ahead and do it now. Also, Razaketh as an 8-drop triple black. Like, he's really good if we get him out, especially if we got him out through Bilbo's activated ability, but I think once we have that much life, we're basically winning this game anyway. Yeah, we can cut Solemnity. Then we don't have to worry about Solemnity. Although Solemnity also stops our one land from getting age counters on it, so we never have to pay the cumulative upkeep on it. Which is a bit of a combo that Malera doesn't have. Because she only stops -1, -1 counters. Okay, I have to think about that one a little more. I forgot that it affected lands too, which is actually super relevant for Glacial Chasm. Yeah, we probably don't need Legion's Landing. It's 1/1/1 vampire token. Like, I don't want to have to attack our opponents in order to flip that. I think I completely missed that that was even still on the list at this point. So Citadel, Casualty War, Command Red Horde, D-Spark. Oh, D-Spark is on our list, and I did not put it down with the other ones. Yeah, I have to keep considering that one, I think. Barrier Breach, Brood Moth. Cosmos Elixir is basically 4 mana. I draw a card at the end of each of my turns in this deck, so. I don't think I actually need it. Do I actually need Belladros for anything? Like, obviously, I can very comfortably pay the 10 life to untap all of my lands, like, more than once in this deck. But do I actually need. She's also making a 1/1 for me every turn, and that 1/1 dies to gain me life also. So it's close. It is close. We might wind up cutting her, though. I probably don't need the Sedgemoor Witch. Like, the Lily, Professor Onyx actually gaining me life whenever I cast an instant or sorcery might be relevant. Making a 1/1 that will eventually die to gain me 1 life, and I'm getting the life from the things. I don't know that I'm going to have that many instants and sorceries. At least the Lily is doing other stuff while I'm looking to find them. Yeah, I think we have to cut the Prosperous Innkeeper. I think it's one of the weaker ones out of the I only gain life for my creatures coming into play. Also don't need Trelisara, I don't think. Um, yeah, we probably don't need the Book of Exalted Deeds either. 15 more cards off the list. $213 cards left. 153 more cuts. Some more water. Okay. What are we going to cut next? And I guess we go back to the bottom and scroll up again. Alright, D-Spark should be somewhere on this list. Probably right here. I think it's right. It's literally the Bolus losing his Spark, so. How many actual ways do I have to blink? For Preston. Dust, Chasm, Lore, Necro, Tutor, Boon, Vamp, Peacemaker, Mercy. Alright, we're at Mercadian Mass. Real quick, what is Preston's exact wording? Because I just remembered it's not when they. Like, his actual thing is that if it wasn't cast. So if I put a creature into play from my graveyard, I didn't cast it from my graveyard, I put it into play from there, that also counts. I was not considering that at first. Ashes, Dust to Dust, Necro, Enlightened Tutor. That's still not changing any of these, though. Soul Warden, Survival, Crawl Space, Hermit. Karmic Guide would count for the other creature. It's one. Replenish counts if it puts any of the enchantment creatures back in, but I think I only have like 3 of them left. But that would also count for Preston, although one of them is Daxos and he's legendary. It's Daxos, Courser of Kruphix, and I think there was one other one. Sky Shards, Rexing Arena, Cause, Elder, Psalms Blackrum, in Witness. Crucible would work with Dryad Arbor and Preston. That's true, Dryad Arbor just works with Preston, right? Because I never cast it. Crucible of Worlds, Eternal Witness. Says top. Alright, I meant to cut the Kami of the False Hope before and I skipped over it. Alright, there's that one gone. Court of Calling works. Proclamation of Rebirth works. Mischief, Rift Sweeper. Red, Bitter Blossom, Revelark. Revelark works for its bringing back other creatures. Polluted Bonds. Woodfall Primus would be terrifying with that. It's like, oh, Woodfall Primus came back from its own ability? Well, guess Preston triggers then. Yeah, Preston's actually kind of terrifying with things like the Brood Moth and um, the persist effects and whatnot. They go to hand for that one. Identity Crisis, Oracle Moldiah, Adventure of Zendikar, Stone, Ulamog, Elspeth, Spencer's Journal. None of these so far. Let's see. Roger's Closet works with him. Tarnished Heart, Sun's Champion, Courser, and Bishop Decked in Stone, Eerie Interlude works. Dust to Dawn. Yeah, that puts them back in my hand, so that's not helping. Settle. Vampire is cast from the graveyard, so that wouldn't count. Smothering Tide, Citadel. Citadel works. Oh no, it has to. When it comes to play, it has to not have been cast, so I did cast them off of Citadel, so that doesn't work. Never mind. I don't know why I suddenly thought that was going to happen. Command the Dreadhorde works. Command the Dreadhorde is insane with that, actually, because I'm getting all of these creatures back in theory. Eerie Ultimatum works. Same ridiculousness. Does interact with Broodmoth properly. Does interact with Lurus. Oh no, I'm casting them. Never mind. Lurus is a cast. Does work with Nethroi though. Cleric classes level 3 works. That's a phase out, so that doesn't count. Teleportation circle works. No to Lysa. Overseer, Rabble Rousing. Yeah, I cast it for free off Rabble Rousing, so that wouldn't trigger him if it were a creature. Blessings, no. Condor, Lotho. Like, it looks like I have just enough stuff that works with him for now, but if I cut a few more of them, I won't. That lets me cast them. Vesperal Arc works with its Leaves playability. Acrobatics works. Barriers Protection doesn't. Regrow effect. Cover Concealment's another phase out. Celestine works. She puts it directly into play. Meal works. And Distinguished Conjurer works, so. Yeah, we have all of those that work with Preston right now, so. Definitely want to keep Prize Pig. I feel like Prize Pig is going to generate an obscene amount of mana in this deck, potentially. Because it gets counters based on how much life I gain, so I could theoretically keep untapping this thing like so many times during my turn. Alright, I need a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Hey, where were we? Alright, prize pig. How much mana I think I'm gonna generate with that thing consistently. We probably have enough card draw that I don't need Smuggler's Share to let me draw more cards. And the Treasure is okay, but not essential. Probably don't need Glasscast Heart. I do like that the vampire tokens have lifelink. Like, that's super helpful, but just gives me more ways to gain life. And they're pretty expendable overall. But we do need cuts, so we have a bunch of other repeatable token makers that aren't costing me mana and or life per turn. This one's costing me mana and life, and there are several of them that we have that once we have them, they just make a token every turn. Or I can spend the life to make the token, like the Underworld Connections or whatever it's called, Black Market Connections. Captain, Hermit, Recruit Guard, Worker, Angel. Yeah, it's a little sad that the Angel is going to die to most of my Wrath effects, but it's just a 3 mana 4/4 that gains me extra life when I would gain life, so it's kind of hard not to run that one. I don't need the Sarah Ascendant. It is a 1 mana creature, so we can get it back with things like Abiding Grace and tutor for it with like the various Rangers of Eos in the deck. So it's very easy to find it and very easy to get it back when it dies. And a 6/6 flying lifelink is probably going to hold off a lot of what the opponents are doing, even if I'm not attacking with it. So slide from tutor. I wonder if we just don't need Dark Tutelage. Like, for the most part, it's going to be a worse Phyrexian Arena that's a little easier to cast. And, like, yes, we can afford the life from it, but we have so many other ways to pay life to draw cards. And if I could just keep paying life, if this were an ad nauseum type thing, where I could pay tons of life and just keep adding the cards to my hand, I think that would just be better. And since we're not running ad nauseum, I don't think we need this one. Like, I think all of our other once per turn card draw effects. Like, I think this thing is worse than Necropotence, Sylvan Library, Greed, Phyrexian Arena, Sigarda's Splendor, which would probably cut Sigarda's Splendor too, because on the one hand we can cut it because it's not guaranteed to draw us the extra card and it encourages our opponents to attack us. On the other hand, we have like 3 No Mercy effects and the Martyr's Bond in our deck. So just because they're encouraged to attack us to stop us from drawing extra cards doesn't mean they actually want to do that. And we should be gaining enough life that they can't reasonably deal non-combat damage to us consistently enough. Like, if we started the turn at, 45 life, there's a very real chance that by the time we get back to our turn, we will have 46 plus life, even if we were dealt damage by, like getting pinged by things or whatnot. So the amount of cards that would need to be spent to consistently stop us from drawing cards, or the amount of things that we would need to have had die anyway for them to be able to get through for damage to keep us off of drawing, is kind of a non-issue at that point. But we have a bunch of other cards. Oh yeah, we also have the One Ring. That's a fun one that's giving us all these extra cards. So yeah, I think we have enough other card draw. We don't need Dark Tutelage. We probably don't need the Cigar of Splendor, despite the fact that it works fine in the deck. We also probably don't need the one-shot effect from Inspiring Overseer. It is a 3-drop, so it's the 3-drop or less, 2 power, or like under 3 power, under 4 casting cost. Draws me a card and gains me a life. Like, it's doing a bunch of things that are fine. Yeah, if we were like a mono white deck, if we didn't have like Greed and Sylvan Library and whatnot, I could see not cutting this, but since we have access to those cards, I don't think we also need the Splendor. Splendor's really good if you're basically mono white. It also helps that it's gaining me life when I cast spells a lot of the time, but only if they are white, and we do have a bunch of colorless and like black and green spells on the list also. White is definitely our predominant color, though. Most of our spells seem to be white. Don't pay any attention to this row of like 3 black and green cards here. There you go. Back to the white cards again. Do I want to cut Shalai? I keep thinking about cutting her because she doesn't, she's more of a win con in this deck. Like, we would have so many tokens that her giving all of them an extra +1/+1 counter would actually be enough to push lethal a lot of the time, and that's not how I want to win with this deck. So I think we're safe to cut her. I do like her other effects though, and I'm a little sad we're losing those. Twilight Prophet, I mean, we don't need her, and she's not even on theme for the deck. So I think we can go ahead and cut her, despite probably being able to get to the 10 permanents. She's just gonna die anyway. She never does her thing. Everybody freaks out and kills her long before I get any cards from her. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more cards cut from the list. Guess we keep going first. Get to the top. Don't know that we want to cut Bygone Bishop. It's close, but it works well with Chatterfang and Peregrine as a token maker. And it's a source of card advantage, if a bit slow and mana intensive. Like, Trostani is fine. We do have enough token makers that she is 3 mana, tap, make a creature, in addition to gaining us life whenever any of our creatures come into play. She is tied to our creatures, but she's always gaining us 1 life. Unless there's some weird effect going on, like a Hairvek or Knight of Souls Betrayal or something. Got a Curse of Death's Hold on us. Maybe we don't need Elspeth Trill. I like her more for the -2 make 3/1/1s, and then when she's out of loyalty, like she's down to 1 loyalty, we plus her in order to gain back, like in order to start gaining life for all the tokens that we've made and start getting her back up to where we can use her again, so we can alternate every turn. But we might wind up cutting her just because I don't have room. Yeah, I think as cool as Identity Crisis is, if we could hit somebody with it, the players we most want to hit with it will probably have responses to it. That will make me sad that I spent all of my mana casting it, like more often than not. I'd rather have repeatable, slowly grind them, like Karn Liberated or linking the Fenlurker or activating the Raven Man every turn to try and deplete the cards in their hand. And I don't even know if we're going to be able to keep any of those in the deck. We might wind up losing most or all of those type of cards just because I don't have room for them. Like, we're so absolutely crushed on room for things. Do I actually need Court of Calling? I have a bunch of token makers, so that makes it much easier to tutor up a specific creature. But we also have a bunch of other things that tutor our creatures. Like, we already have Demonic and Grim, and then we have Vampiric, we have Survival of the Fittest. It does get it into play, but there's not a ton of creatures in our deck that have a massive impact on the board the second we cast them, or get them into play, rather. I think something like Michiko might be one of the best things we can tutor for, because they think they're going to hit us for a ton of damage and we don't have No Mercy out, and all of a sudden we have Dread or Michiko, and it's just like, well, guess all my stuff's dying now. Got Champion. Streams. Elder. Righteous Cause. I might wind up losing the Righteous Cause because it's too much mana for not enough life gain in a lot of situations. Yeah, I don't think we need Noble Purpose. I'm not planning on winning by attacking, so yes, it's nice to give all of my lifelink creatures double lifelink, but I don't think we need that. We probably don't need Reclamation either, like it's fine in the deck, but we have a large number of effects that do this to begin with, so maybe just get rid of that one. If it were black and 2 life instead of black and 1 and 2 life, I might seriously consider it. Or even if it was 2 mana and 2 life, so that way I didn't have to have as many black sources in play. If it was a little less mana intensive or a little less color intensive to reuse it every turn, I'd be a lot more inclined to keep it. I'm still not 100% sure. Like, I'm looking at it going, do I really want to cut that? Like, it does a lot in this deck where I don't care about the life total. Like, if I have black mana lying around, I just get to regrow all of my creatures consistently, so maybe. The fact that I'm giving it this much consideration to be cut is probably an indication that it's going to go. Probably don't need Peacekeeper either. Yeah, I don't think I necessarily need to stop my opponents from being able to attack. First of all, I don't want to stop them from being able to attack each other and each other's planeswalkers. Like, I don't want to take that away and then need to use my removal spells on a planeswalker that's about to ultimate or something. So I don't need to protect the other players from each other, and I'm investing mana to not die while Peacekeeper's out. So I would rather just rely very heavily on my life gain for most of that. If we copy Demonic Tutor, how many does that put on the list? 11. So there were 10 cards already on there, so we're down to 203. 143 more cuts. There's still over half the cards on the list. Alright. Keep going. Maybe now's the time to do the artifacts and enchantments and see what we have. There weren't any other disenchants up here. There's Lure, Necropotence, Vamp Tutor, Soul Warden, Survival, Wood Elves, Granger, Replenish, Bar Shards. Solemn Sacrum, Well, Champion, Beacon, Crucible, Ewit, Chico, Dale, Rock, Bill's Grace. Oh, it's true, Mangara should have been on the other list. Right. Because he can, in fact, exile a creature. Copy him, grab Return to Dust. Essence Warden, Imp's Mischief, Rift Sweeper, Dread. Fracturing Gust, yes. Bonds, Woodfall Primus is specifically non-creatures. Leader, Ranger, Lapse, Path, Oracle, Avenger, Awakening Zone, Elspeth, Venser, Fangren, Mentor, Nevermore, Bow, Burnished Heart, Sir, and Sunscorch from Beyond, Daily, Unmaking, Bygone, Decked in Stone, Interlude, Mention, the Ashes, Settle, Tithe, Barrier Breach, Lurus, Nethroi, Harbinger, Alchemist, Heraclass, Nation Circle, Lysa, Sholdred, Terra Sunder, Raven Man, Haywire Might. Hits non-creature, artifact, and enchantments. Machines, Font of Blessings, Peregrine, Reprieve, Battle, Wondering. Revisits Grim Tutor, Acidic Slime, only hits certain non-land or non-creature permanents rather. Cultivate, Elixir, Sarah Ascendant, Sun Titan, Ranger's Path, Rogue's Faith Mender, Board, Archive, No, Idol, Recruiter, Hermit, Captain, Recruit, Vesperlark, Winds, 2, Addicts, Martyr's Bond, Patient, Barrier, Angel of the Dire Hours, Sylvan Reclamation, Protection, Judgment, Maneuver, Bane Witch Coven. Gaffer. Ice Pig. Cotton. Commissar. Bill Witch. Okay. Down here. None. Creature removal. Alright, we also have to add Mangara up here. Time Spiral, so have to exile. So he should be here then. Have Condor. So non-creature removal spells. So Dust to Dust. Aura Shards. Return to Dust. Fracturing Gust. Woodfall. Breach. Haywire Might. Acidic Slime. Reclamation. That's it. Alright, so the only ones that don't exile are all repeatable. I was debating if I want Fracturing Gust primarily because it does not exile my artifacts and enchantments when it kills everything. Alright, let's clear off the list and start about what we want to get rid of. Alright, so Ooze is only repeatable because we can blink it, and we don't have a ton of ways to blink right now. We have a few, like, enough, but I think we need Acidic Ooze, or Acidic Slime, rather. On the other hand, maybe I want that more than the Haywire Might. Like, I like the Haywire Might because it exiles and it gains me life when it does it. But both of those, like, it specifically can't hit artifact and enchantment creatures. It is a 1-drop 1/1 though, so it's tutorable with a bunch of my stuff, so that's probably another factor for it, like in its favor. We probably don't need Return to Dust. Like, I'd rather spend the extra mana and the extra color to have Sylvan Reclamation and be able to always exile 2 things, not just during my main phase, and have the basic land cycling option. So we make enough tokens that Aura Shards should probably stay in. We can probably get rid of Dust to Dust and Barrier Breach. I do like both of them, but we need room. And them both being limited, like Dust to Dust being a sorcery, and Barrier Breach being limited to enchantments. Like, I do like both of these effects, but we have mass artifact and enchantment removal and Aura Shards, Fracturing Gust, Farewell. We can hit multiple permanents with some of the other things up here too. And we have enough target removal for any card type, other than lands for the most part. So we can probably cut Dust to Dust and Barrier Breach. Although I do like both of them in the deck, so maybe I leave them for now and see if we can keep them. We can get rid of Return to Dust and Acidic Slime, though. So that's those two. So that brings us down to 201. Mm. Danger of Eos, Lapse of Certainty, Exile, Aya, Spell, Journal. Might not need Pristine Talisman. I do like it though because it's a ramp card that's gaining me life every turn, so serving two functions that my deck would like. Yeah, we're coming up on the 2 hour mark and looking for like one more card so I can say we got down to 200 without just cutting a thing very arbitrarily. Maybe it's gonna be Ramunap. Like, I already have the Crucible, and I don't know that I have room for both of them in this deck. Probably not Citadel. Ravens, I kind of like having. Although Revenge is a slightly worse of the white one. Like, it's 1 mana less, but in my tertiary color, I don't care about the opponents losing life, and it's only gaining me life when they attack me. So maybe we get rid of Revenge then? I can see that. Alright, so that brings me down to 200 cards. Alright, I'm going to call it there for right now. And I'm going to take a bit of a break. When I come back, we'll probably do a draft or two, and then I'll see how I'm feeling from there, if I want to do anything else tonight or not. But yeah, it's going to do it for me for right now. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.